Thanks for stepping in. Would you like to start off?
Hi everyone, I'm Robert Dodig. I am well. Have no time constraints. Dr. Desmore is missing. I think she'll be here. No elephants. Expectation, continue to make progress.
Good evening. My name is Christine Trode. I'm doing well. I do not have any time constraints, missing noted. I don't have any elephants, and expectations are also to make progress.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Kelfie. I'm the payroll director. I'm doing well. No time constraints, no elephants, and expectations make progress.
Good afternoon, Fernando Vasquez, Director of Professional Standards. No time constraints, the missing is noted, no elephants, expectations to make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Roger Lloyd. I'm representing transportation. I'm doing well. I have any time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and continue to make progress.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Kurtz, Principal Hector Cafrada. I am wonderful. I have a 5:45 time constraint. Missing has been noted. I don't have any elephants I'm aware of, and my expectations are to move the ball along.
Good evening. My name is Candy Messenger. I am the Director of Food and Nutrition Services. I am fine. I have no time constraints. Missing has been noted. No elephants. And my expectation is to make progress.
I am Cheryl Neely, and I'm representing school development, and I'm great. Don't have any time constraints. Ms. Desimore still missing, no elephants, and I'm going to be present, but make progress.
I'm Alex Dorzansky, Principal, Harns Marsh Middle School. I'm doing great. My time constraints are 11 p.m. I can only do this for about 7 hours.
No worries, Alex. No worries.
The missing has already been noted, no elephants, and my expectations is to keep on moving forward.
Good evening, my name is Teresa Bowen. I'm the ESE Director. I am doing well. I have no time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and my expectations are to keep making progress.
My name is Barbara Cedino. I'm doing well, no time constraints. Missing as noted, no elephants, and the same as everyone, make progress. Thank you.
Corey McIntosh, I'm doing well. Assistant School Board Attorney. I have no time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and expectations make progress.
Lois. Good evening, my name is Lois DeBay. I am well. Missing is Jacqueline Lineberger. No elephants, and expectations is to make progress.
Good evening, I am Arlise Williams, President of SPALC. No time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephant, and my expectation is to make progress.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrice Coates. I can't see. I'm sorry. I wasn't taking my glasses off. I am doing awesome. Time constraint for me is 5:30. Missing has been noted. No elephants, and expectation is to make progress.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chris Cox. I'm doing well. No elephants. Expectations to make progress.
My name is Deborah Evans. I'm doing well, no time restraint. I don't see anyone that's missing. Expectation is to make progress.
Hi, my name is Laura Rosen. I'm doing well, no time constraints. Missing's been noted, no elephants, expectations, let's make progress.
Hello, my name is Roger Wilson. I'm doing great, no time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephants, expectations, make progress.
Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Davis. I'm fantastic. I have no time constraint. Missing has been noted, no elephant, and expectation is to make progress.
Hey, I'm Amy, and I'm fine. No time constraints. My apologies for being late. No elephants, and like make progress.
I'm Mark Banky, Assistant Principal for SPALC Academy of the Arts. I'm doing well, I have no time constraints, missing is noted, no elephants, and expectations are to make progress.
I'm Amy French, I'm doing well. I don't have any time constraints. We are all here tonight. I don't have any elephants, my expectations are to make progress. We have a color story going on, it was like.
And good afternoon, I'm Donna Munzenard, I'm doing well. I have no time constraints. I have no elephants, and my expectation is to help you make progress. And I do have one time constraint. I need to be home by 7:30 to start the Celtics game. All right.
Heat, go Heat.
Thanks, Rob. Wrong team. Which is why I said Celtics game. All right. So with that, minutes. Anybody have changes to or deletions to the minutes? Arlise?
Yes, for the accident, I might have said the safety committee, but it should have been accidents are reviewed by the accident committee. Those are two different committees.
Yes, they are.
By the accident committee?
Mhm. Yes.
And what page is that on?
Page 2.
Sure. Okay, any other corrections or deletions to the minutes? All right, yes, Patrice. I know. It's okay, there's one in every group, Patrice.
I just wanted to get clarification also on page 2, under story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th bullet. It says salary range considers experience, not district longevity. I remember the conversation. Do we need to put any more clarification on that, or leave it as is?
I think Kevin Calfee made that comment. I don't know. I just wrote down what was on the sheet.
Oh, on the sheet, okay.
Yeah.
Considers like.
Salary range considers experience, comma, not district longevity.
Yeah, it was in response to a question from Chris.
Okay, well, I'll take it offline with Chris. And there was another one down at Safe Driver Award. Could we add, because it was two, must drive 50% of the workday, and there was another at 90, I think it was 90.
It's in the contract. Yeah, I can add what it's in the contract.
Okay. That was it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing no hands, can we accept the minutes as corrected? Thumbs, please. All right, minutes are stand as corrected. Thank you. On the agenda this evening, we have calendar next. Do we want to schedule more meetings? Is that the rationale? What's the last meeting for SPALC right now?
Tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the answer is yes.
Yes. So anybody have a place they want to start? To reschedule, or to not reschedule,
Well,
to schedule?
I defer to SPALC in some way because Arlise expressed a concern about Mondays a while back, so I don't know if that's still the case.
we're looking at our calendars.
Okay,
Is it safe to say that TALC would be May 6th?
yes,
ALC is May 6th and May 8th. We also have a date.
right.
We could do May 13th until 7 o'clock,
Yep,
if that works.
that's fine.
Okay.
That would be the next day in the rotation. So
Right. May 13th, another date?
that's up to them. Thirteenth of May.
When is TALC's last bargaining session?
May 8th.
Okay, TALC's last one is May 8th, so last one scheduled.
May 20th?
May 20th is a Monday, is that okay with everybody?
That's fine.
Okay, do we need to schedule more?
I think we're good.
You want more, or are those two dates good for SPALC?
Yeah, no, good, but right now.
Okay, then we'll go with May 13th and May 20th, both on Monday, 4 to 7, I assume the usual time. Okay, wasn't too bad. All right, next on the agenda is Article 10. And then we have Article 7. Is there one or the other we want to start with? Arlie?
Can we do 7 first? I think we can get through that one quicker, maybe.
And potentially, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We did put the snapshot up from Article 7 with the flexibility of shifts due to size of the district, and I know we've had some story on that. More clarification on what's doable and allowable. Is the shirt change going to be temporary or permanent? Or employee surveys, maintenance employees do work, other jobs. The interest was flexibility, safety, contractual compliance, student achievement, and equitability. And there was a survey done, I know, from SPALC that we talked about as well. So, do we have any more story on Article 7? Rob?
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about this since we last spoke. We have a couple of things, just throwing them out there, and they sound like options, I apologize, but this is a work in progress for us too. Barbara Cedeno has expressed possibly doing this for certain blocks of time during the year. So, like busy times. So someone's shift wouldn't always be 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, but maybe for a period of time, like a month, it would be, depending on what's happening. The other thing we've floated is potentially starting at some point in time with new hires going to different shifts. So we wouldn't take any of the current people because we don't want to mess with their schedules and their lives. And basically, when Barbara starts interviewing for a position, whatever that may be, she tells the folks, here's what the hours are. And the person never knows the better. I mean, that is just what they would expect to work. So floating these things out there, not putting up options, because honestly, I can't tell you that those things have been necessarily tested, or how's that gonna work, or anything. This is new for us. I mean, obviously, a school district, yeah, we have people that work different shifts, but this is something completely different. So, just two things. I don't know what the reaction to that is.
Okay.
We did take into consideration the poll, seeing that there's a fairly large number of folks that don't wanna shift their work days and work schedules, and we understand that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody over here have any? Chris?
Well, just to comment on what Rob just said was that I'm not sure how that works with the supervisors. Do these new people need to be supervised at any given time? Or just turn them loose in the schools? Or I'm not sure how that works out for you.
He's saying it with the new hire, if you do the new hire, who would be under supervision and, their supervisor, and would they be shift work and?
Yeah, that's why I made my comment that, this hasn't been vetted or discussed or thought out. Obviously, they'd have to have experienced supervision with them. So, there's a potential for, I'm assuming, and I look at Barbara, non-SPALC people's hours would change potentially to supervise them. I think that's how it would work. We're just trying to think of the least intrusive way to get workers on different shifts that may not impact current employees.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Anybody else? Rob?
Yeah, the other thing is, whatever we would do, we would pilot. I don't think we're gonna say, we're gonna go to a whole shift of people at between these times permanently, or it would be a small group. So that's essentially what I guess we're looking for, a pilot. And I'm trying to think of an option, frankly, that we could agree on, and then sort of hash out the details, like we used to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Does everybody have the options that were already done in front of them? We're in past minutes, I'm sure, so that, we don't keep repeating ourselves, or we can dig them out of the pile back there, I'm sure, if we need to.
Yeah, so they were on March 13th.
March 13th.
If anybody has their minutes. And basically, what we did is we put different schedules up there.
Right, I remember. So does anybody need us to put them up? We can dig them out, or if you have your minutes. Not have it. Most everybody has their minutes from the 13th. Okay. All right, have you thought of, I gave you some time. Did you think of an option, Rob?
I think the option is to pilot a work schedule that encompasses, I hate to say this, but one of the 4 options that we have already.
Okay, so that could be part of a
Right,
straw design.
that we already put up or listed on March 13th.
I don't know what number this would be.
5.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any other options? Laura?
Is there gonna be like when you're gonna have 2 schedules, is there gonna be like a supervisor for the AM, like they have with custodians and a supervisor in the PM? I mean, I don't know if that falls under the options.
That could be an option.
Well, I think the answer is yes. But one of the 4 options, the 4th option is actually 4 10-hour days only during critical times of the year. So I think that's kind of what I spoke about earlier when Barbara spoke about, well, to me, about only doing this during certain times of the year.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, there would be supervision.
So that would be a salary. I mean, that's another body, and it's a salary, right?
Well, she has existing supervisors, yeah.
Or you just split the supervisors?
Because their salary schedule in, right?
So we would be part of the SPALC bargaining
Right.
unit, so.
We wouldn't have to worry about the notice requirements like your schedule requires and things like that, to change schedules.
Okay, any other questions, clarifications needed on any of the options, or anybody have another option? All right, Chris.
I don't know if this would be considered an option or not, but are you saying that the current employees would not be subject to any of this? Is that?
No, okay, I know I said a lot of different things, and I'm kind of, sort of, that was separate. That was potentially another way of doing this.
He didn't put it up as an official option yet, but that was just another way to do that.
Which would be to simply fill the different schedule with new employees. But frankly, speaking out loud, I think we could make a decision to do that, the district, without bargaining that. But that's a whole other story. Yeah. So we could just tell someone, here's your hours. But I don't want to do that. But I just wanted to put that out there because I thought I'm trying to see if there's any reaction to the things that we're throwing out there. I know you're just hearing them for the first time, but it's hard to bargain when I'm not getting any feedback or reaction.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I understand the pilot program, but when you're going back and forth and changing people's schedules, and there's no consistency, I see that as being somewhat of an issue, but
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I think there's an art to this, frankly, and I think it would need, but I think we would just like to see, and I know Barbara has said to me, what is the interest from SPALC in helping us do this? And that's, in a sense, what we're trying to gauge, because she has seen a need for this, and we're trying to figure out a way to progress collaboratively with you all, so we can get some things done that maybe in the past haven't been able to get done, and I know Barbara wants to speak, so.
Okay. Chris, before you say something, should I put consistency up there as an interest? Okay.
All right, so I really want the opportunity at maintenance for us to be able to take care of our schools. We have a lot of buildings, a lot of students and staff that we're responsible for to ensure that the work is being done. It becomes very challenging at times because we have to work around a lot of schedules. At times there's testing, there's events, there's school functions. It would be ideal, as Mr. Doder was explaining, if we had the opportunity to look at a model where, hey, and I think that was one of the discussions we had previously, that if we had volunteers that were able to do this type of schedule for a period of time, that would help us execute some of this work that's needed at these facilities. Some of the interest could be in preventive maintenance work. We have to make sure that these systems are up and running, prior to the start of schools or maybe right after hurricane season, just make sure that we're getting certain things done within those, within the facilities for this type of equipment. It could be maybe plumbing systems, being able to get in there and being able to do, repairs to, plumbing fixtures, whatever the case may be. I really just want clarity on what is the SPALC's stance on, us trying this pilot program. Can it be effective? Can it help the district, in the work that we need to complete? And if we start on a volunteer basis, you did indicate that there was a percentage of employees that were interested in this type of model. So if we can start there, I think that would help us some. I'm not sure if the type or maybe the categorization for the employee was polled, but that would be helpful information for us as well. just to see where was the interest? Was it more HVAC? Was it more plumbing? Where exactly was more of the interest based on your information? That will help some. But ultimately, we have to, as the district continues to grow, we have to look for other opportunities for us to be able to execute the volume of work. It's coming in on a day-to-day basis, is rapid. There's a lot to maintain out there. Just think about a building, how many toilets you have out there, how many light fixtures you have, how many HVAC systems we have out there. We have to be able to maintain this equipment, and we have to try to find some balance. And all I'm asking is, is there flexibility? What's allowable? What are we allowed to do? Is what we're asking for your guidance on.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. Chris?
Well, I think we did run a survey here, and the majority of people didn't want to see it touched. However, there was a group of people that would consider going to 10-hour work days, 4 days a week. But again, I think you need consistency in that. I mean, to pull them away and let them do that, and then decide a month later you want them to do something different and change it up again. And these people work second jobs. Some have young families that they're looking to get home to, and well.
Go ahead, do you have the mic, Barbara?
I was going to say that.
And I appreciate those comments. I think they're valid concerns. I think as we, as a department, as we roll these ideas out, I think we bring in those interested parties and see, what are their thoughts? We have to be able to work together and better understand, hey, how can this be successful? We want this to be a sustainable program that we do for the district, not something that it's, we start today and then it's gonna, fall apart, in the next few months. But again, it starts here, with us being in agreement what we're allowed to do. And then the next step for us would be to really better understand, hey, what are those work schedules for our staff? And you're right. People do have second jobs at maintenance. I completely understand that. And I'm not here to take away from those other responsibility. I think from a department's perspective, who's available, who's able to do what, and how do we work together in order to achieve more and be successful and make a model that is sustainable. So that's, I appreciate your comments, and that's really the intention of all this.
Okay, Rod?
I'm going to put two other options up there, which are components potentially of a straw design.
Okay.
One of them would be to begin July 1st, 2026. I'm sorry, 2025. No, not 2024. A year. So 2026.
2025.
2025. I know.
Don't rush it.
And then another option is new employees hired after July 1st. Actually, no, January 1st, 2025 would be assigned an alternative work schedule. In maintenance.
Okay. We've had two more options added. For it to begin in July 1st, 25, and new employees hired after January 1st, 25 would be assigned an alternative work schedule and maintenance. Arlise, did you want to say something? Or are you thinking?
I just wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
Is all the options up there? Or?
The other four?
They're on the screen.
Yeah.
Need this turned a little, Chris, so you can, yeah. All right. Amy?
Just a question for option 2 and/or 4. Both of those talk about certain critical times of year. Was there a discussion at that point of what the critical times are?
Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah, there was a discussion about it, but you can refresh our memories, Barbara.
So it depends on the trade. So like, for instance, right now, like there's open house, it's one period, correct? And that usually takes place in January, and there's also back to school months. Those are critical for us, that we have to be able to make sure that we have enough people, covering the HVAC equipment, hay, just mowing up the grass and the terrains that are out there. Then other times of the year would be, let's see. I would probably, so, yeah, so.
Yes, the other open house in January, just to make
Yes,
sure the schools
there's an open
are all
house
up
in
to
January, and there's also open house in the fall for back to school.
Right.
The other things that we have is right after we come back from winter break, and it starts ramping up. So by the time we get to spring break, it becomes busier for us. And then from there, we have to manage some of the workload, because then we get into testing season. So it makes sense. We have to work around some of those shifts there. And then summers is crazy, because that's the opportunity for us to be able to get into the campuses. So it really varies, and it depends really by trade and what's taking place capital project wise.
Okay.
Thank you. And we may have covered this ground as well in the previous discussion, so if we did, my apologies. So built into those options, then when we talk about certain critical times, then I assume that means that the definition of what that means, as it could be fluid, we are fluid with that as well, that somehow or another there's some conversation, whether it be take place in labor management or something else, as to how critical times would be defined. And then it might change from year to year, or could change month to month, I guess, depending on what is going on, what is happening. Was that a true statement? Is that kind of what we understood in those options? Thank you.
Correct. Okay. Lois.
I just want to remind everybody, when I gave the salary, the maintenance survey results, you do have 38% of your folks that are interested in the 4-day work week. And not the critical times, we're talking constantly, so that's something that we maybe have a hybrid kind of a schedule.
Okay, the only one up there about there were 3 and 4. One was a critical time, 4 was critical time.
Yeah, and the thing we're trying to avoid is Article 7.041 allows us to change people's schedules with 30 days notice unilaterally. We're trying to avoid that. We want this to be a collaborative thing, and we don't want to do that. And I'm not suggesting we are. I just want you to know, or folks to know, that there is already language in the contract that allows management to change a worker's schedule with sufficient notice. So, but that's not what we're trying to do here.
Okay. Anybody else? Chris? I'll pass the mic to Chris. Thank you.
Would you guys consider locking it into the 10-hour days, as opposed to when you're going helter-skelter? This doesn't seem like a good. I don't think I'd want to work under those conditions myself. So I'd like to see more consistency in it. I mean, if you're saying, hey, certain groups work 10-hour days and others work, I think you could accomplish your goals in that scenario. But I'm not the management end of it. I think, again, that's what most of our people said that they would rather be. I mean, we're going from, 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock, that pretty much cuts the heart out of your day. That's, I don't think that's gonna go over very well, personally.
Okay. Barbara? Oh, Rob, okay.
Say, this is kind of the, making the sausage kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're like passing the law, so to speak, and then the rules and regulations that would implement that is where the detail would have to all come in. So how it would all work and the process is something that has to be developed. I mean, we don't have that here today. And if you look at the contract, there's areas where we've had to do work to determine how something should be implemented. So I understand your concern, saying it's helter-skelter, and honestly, I could go back and develop a 14-page plan, but you all could reject that too. So we're trying to pass basically the law or the contract language that says the district can have separate schedules at maintenance, and then we would work on the details of how that's gonna be implemented.
And when you say we, you mean? Rod, when you say we, you mean? Labor management? Okay. Okay.
I just had a clarification question for Chris.
Sure, Barbara.
Chris, you said that the interest was more on a permanent 410s. Is that what you said earlier?
I believe so, yes. I think they would want consistency in that, as opposed to being, again, you wouldn't be able to really plan it. How would you plan your, I don't know what the times are that you would need. I mean, that's coming from the management. So we would be at the whims of whatever which is kind of a tough thing to do to people, in my opinion.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Anybody else? Kevin? Mike will come up your way.
So this is just a comment on the back and forth. So I leave potentially a pilot of the 10-hour days, see how well it's working, and if it's working, continue with it. And then if it's not working, it might go back to the regular schedule, is kind of what I'm getting out of this conversation.
Yeah, and you could certainly put a time certain for the pilot, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and revisit, that type of thing. Anybody else? Amy?
Yes, so I heard that as well, but then I also heard in the conversation of not why locking in on the 10-hour days, not necessarily maybe the option to do both things, a work week where you have people who work different shifts and schedules, plus the 10-hour workday might give the optimal flexibility in order to make sure that needs across the district are covered, and that potentially people have the ability to choose into what works for their lifestyle.
So you're looking at 1 and 3?
Yes, I was speaking to 1 and 3, actually,
Okay.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else? Barbara? Oh. Yes.
Well, I want to work weeks as well as
Shift work?
It's shift work, but it's shift work like option 1.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Barbara.
Is there an opportunity to redo a survey for the department and get some feedback that way?
Arlene?
We did the survey, So that is actually the survey, right? So 69% is status quo. And then the 38% is the Monday through Thursday, Tuesday through Friday.
Okay, so that's option 3.
Option 5 was number 1. Option 3 was the runner-up.
Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time? It was option 3?
Option 5 was the first choice, and it was 69%.
Which was status quo.
Yeah, status quo.
Yeah.
And then, option 3 was 38%. And you're actually looking at the survey. That's what the survey question was.
Right, of course, we didn't have the ones we just added tonight at that point, but.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Chris?
I was gonna say one thing, you might consider,
Yeah, turn it on.
you might consider, shifting the, Friday, Monday, and alternating those 2 days to get more coverage. And if you're going to the 10-hour workday, that would give you a little bit more, flexibility and coverage.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody have any more options? Rob?
So is pilot up there as an option? It is, okay.
Pilot and
All
work
right.
schedule.
All right. And 5 is what?
They said that they were status quo.
No, 5 was not status quo was not an option.
Oh,
That was part of their
that was part of your
survey.
survey, not one of
No, we don't have an option of status quo because there's no status quo.
All right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why I'm confused.
All
So
right,
the pilot
5
language
is
is
the
still
pilot.
5, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so I would like a straw design
Okay,
of 1, 3, and 5.
okay. 1, 3, and 5.
5 is the pilot.
Right. So 1 is Monday through Friday work week. 3 is the 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday and Tuesday through Friday. And,
That's an example.
yeah,
4 10-hour days.
and 5 is the pilot, a work schedule that encompasses one of the previous options from 313, which is 1 and 3. Amy?
I just want to make sure because it just, the way I read it is option 6 really is contrary to pairing with 1 and 3 because it says, I'm sorry, option 5, because it says pilot a work schedule that encompasses one of the previous options. If it just said 1 or more, that would be, see, okay, so if that's what the understanding is, then I get it.
Robert agrees with the or more, and he put that up, so.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need an option up there to include the labor management or a committee will work out the details? Okay.
So option 8.
And add that to the straw design?
Add that to your straw design, Rob? Do you want to add that to your straw design, this option that are in there? Okay.
So now we have a straw design of 1, 3, 5, and 8. Chris, I see you have the mic in your hand. Okay. Okay, all right. Barbara, you need a mic. Oh, thank you, Amy.
Okay, just so I'm clear, the 1, 3, and 5 is off of the paper or off of the board?
Off the board.
Option 1, 3, 5, we go pilot, that would be one or more of those. And then 8 is the details of what that will be worked out in labor management or committee.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else need any clarification or have questions? Anybody else have another straw design? Are we ready to look at the straw design and test it? Or does anybody need to caucus to discuss first? No, no caucus is needed. So can we test the straw design unless somebody has another one? All right, SPALC needs a caucus.
All right, we will do.
Okay, time frame? 10 minutes.
Yes,
Okay, we can get settled again. And SPALC, you called the caucus, so would you like to give us your report, please?
Yeah, we kept in mind the existing employees. We want to make sure that we're not trying to run out folks that have been here and force things down. So we want to make sure that existing employees can be voluntary to take on these different schedules that we're talking about. So we want to put up another option.
Option 9?
Okay.
Go ahead, Lois.
All right.
So on our survey, we have what was status quo. So we want to add that option and add the option number 3, which was the 4 10-hour days.
Okay, so you want to say option 9 is status quo,
Good thing it's short.
okay? You want option 10?
Or do you want another straw design?
I guess straw design, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna do a second straw design. We roll straw design 1 and straw design 2.
All right, your straw design is 3 and 10,
Okay, so
3 and 9.
or 9, I'm sorry.
So our status quo is what, number 9?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just trying
So
to.
we want 3.
Thanks, Amy.
7.
New employees, okay.
And
What's number 8? I'm trying
8's
to.
in labor management.
Yeah, we want number 8.
committee. 8.
And then we want our number 9, which is the status quo. Can we add that as an option?
I think it conflicts with everything else though.
I think a better than saying status quo, what you're trying to get at is that current employees can choose to stay status quo.
Right.
So
Status quo,
for current employees,
if,
Yes, for the existing employees, yeah.
option, so option for new, or for current employees?
So, say that again?
So that there is an option for current employees to keep status quo, or voluntary status quo
Correct.
for current employees, is that better?
yeah, that's
Okay,
as good as,
okay. Voluntary status quo for current employees. Okay, so now you want to add number 9.
Correct. We want to make sure that existing employees have an option to do this and not do this.
Okay.
okay. All right, we need the caucus report from TELC, yeah, district.
So TALC discussed, the district discussed, the option. We are still fans of our straw design. So,
Okay, no changes.
I'm a bit confused by what just happened.
Okay, hold on, let Mark get that.
Because there's
and then
not, as I say, there's not going to be
clarification.
status quo 4. There's no contract language. So I don't know what status quo means.
Okay, I'm just waiting till Mark, you're done. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
I think what we were trying to accomplish in this is to say that your straw design is fine, but give the existing employees the option to choose whether they want to take those hours or not take those hours. And again, new hires, you can do as you wish at that point.
Go ahead, Rob.
And I heard Dr. Kurtz, there's really no language in the contract that requires us to take volunteers or, honestly, we're trying to be collaborative and we know there's the 30-day notice language in the contract to change someone's schedule. So, I theoretically, we could just withdraw this issue and then implement things however we want to implement them. We didn't want to have to do that.
Okay. So maybe a better way to say option 9 would current employees would have the option to stay on current schedule.
Choice.
Instead of using the word status quo, which kind of is confusing. Rob?
Also, what we've proposed does not involve contract language at all. It's an agreement that can be implemented. That option involves contract language, and it's difficult to support that.
Okay. Chris, I saw.
Well, I think where we're coming from is you may get a lot of the employees that wish to take on the 2 to 6, or you may get some of them, you may get some of them that wish to do that's why we're looking for it to be voluntary, for at least for the existing employees. You may satisfy your goals in that, but having it come at you from every direction, it's kind of tough to, I understand you can do it, but it's,
Rob?
I think we can make a commitment to solicit volunteers first, but if there are none, and we want to implement, or there's only a couple, and we want to implement this as a pilot, because that's what our option says, we want to be able to do that. So I could potentially put an option up there that we will ask for volunteers from current employees.
Right. You gotta squeeze it in.
Ask for volunteers.
All right, ask for volunteers from current employees is option 10 now?
Can we add it to job site?
Yes.
All right, so Rob said he would also like to add that to his straw design, so he has 1, 3, 5, 8, and 10, which does give an option to current employees. And then the other one is 3, 7, 8, 9. Which basically, I think you were leaning towards the same thing, but the status quo kind of confused things because it isn't contract language. So any other clarifications or anything else from anyone? We have 2 straw designs up here. Rob?
I'd like to test our straw design.
All right, straw design 1. We don't have those up on the screen anymore, but I know most of you had them in front of you.
Could you read me back number 10, please? Number 10 is to ask for volunteers from current employees.
Of course, in a full sentence that would say just change schedules, yes. We don't always deal in full sentences. Or a pilot, right.
Or a pilot, I'll add that.
Okay, so we've been asked to test 1, 3, 5, 8, 10. Anybody else have any questions on what those options are? No, I can't because I don't have a copy.
How can you show us just the numbers, Ms. Donna? And
5.
Show the numbers.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Sure. Ask for volunteers from current employees or higher.
Thank you.
Yes, Barbara.
And
just so I'm clear, so with the straw design, let's say we go with straw design number 1, we can do a combination of those items?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Sorry, we should have explained that. We have some new people here. What a straw design actually is, yes. Straw design is a combination of all of them that will somehow, labor management or a committee will put it all together so it makes sense. As Rob said, that's the sausage being made. That's right. Anybody else? Questions or clarifications? All right, we've been asked to test straw design 1. Can I see thumbs? Approve, can live with it, or can't approve it? All right, it looks like we have an answer. Straw design 1. Good job, everybody. Good discussion. All right, let's switch some paper around. Article 10 was the next one, compensation, and I'm not sure where we're going with this. Rob?
So we have a couple of data request responses, thanks to the diligent work of Mr. Calfee and his staff, and whoever else, Dr. Desamore may have been involved. So one of them was the request regarding safe driver, and the amount of people that got the safe, this is for 22-23, and I'm just gonna give you some raw numbers. 473 school bus operators, dispatcher, and a trainer received the Safe Driver Award. Then I'll give you the SPALC, other SPALC folks first. 2 stock control specialists.
Hold on a second. I don't think Mark's ready yet.
Stock, S-T-O-C-K. Well, because they drive a lot for their jobs.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
1 assistant supervisor for mail, shipping and receiving. Actually, there's actually 4 stock control specialists, because I have them here twice.
All right.
And then 1 technical support specialist. Now, the only other folks that are eligible are salary schedule N. And 1 is a clerk typist, however, that individual drives a bus also. Right, Roger? Seven field managers for food and nutrition services. One training supervisor for food and nutrition services. Just put FNS. And then 1, this is the last one, 1 equipment procurement supervisor in FNS, Food and Nutrition Services. So those are the folks that received the Safe Driver Award.
Okay.
The other data I have is the amount of SPALC staff at our turnaround and transition schools. So the total number of SPALC staff at turnaround schools, this is current, Kevin? Currently, is 313. And Arlise asked what the cost would be, so times 4,000, which is the amount of money that those TALC folks make at those schools, that's $1.25 million. Not including benefits. And then, tell me when the transition schools, which is $2,000, there's 232 SPALC employees. And the math there is $464,000, not including benefits.
Anything else?
That's all I have on the data requests.
Okay.
Can you repeat the transition school information?
Sure, 232 times 2,000 equals $464,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else, Rob? No. Anybody else? Rob?
I'll just beat the same drum that I beat on Thursday, which is our 5%, $7.2 million is still the authority that we have for compensation. We're here to discuss how you might want to deal with that. We are aware that on Wednesday, we're going to talk to you all, Lois and Arlise, at Labor Management, about specific positions from the salary study that are above or below the market, which may give you some more indication of what you may want to do, and I recognize that. So if we're at a point here where we can't do much more tonight, I understand that also.
I am going to ask a clarifying question. I wasn't here on Thursday when this came up, but I understand with TELC, there's a different pot of money for this. So I'm not sure why it comes out of what little we get for bargaining authority.
Right.
And I think she's talking about the turnaround schools.
Right.
And because I suspect that Dr. Desamore can speak, but that's something that was budgeted for TALC because we know about it. So this is not something that's ever been negotiated with SPALC before. So I can't speak for the budget department, but I gave you the conservative answer on Thursday. If that's different, then I can be told that, but I don't expect Amy to tell me that right now as we sit here either, but that's why I gave the answer I gave, because I was asked, Amy, where would the money come from? And I said, well, as I sit here right now, I have to tell you that it would have to come from from the bargaining authority. Yes?
All right, Amy?
Yes, true, but I'm not sure what you mean when you say for TALC it would be different, because when it was initially implemented, it would have been in whatever bargaining authority, and then this year, if there was some conversation or a proposal to increase that, then it would also come out of the bargaining authority. So, a little bit more information about what you might be referring to if you thought like originally or now it was coming out of some different pot for SPALC.
Yeah, it seems
for
to come
TALC,
from a
sorry.
different pot of money than when TELC's bargaining for the actual raises, like the turnaround money seems to come from a different, to me anyway, it seems like it came from a different area.
Okay, so Do you mean when it was originally implemented for TALC, or do you mean even now? Because now, if they were trying to increase it, then it would be part of the bargaining authority for TALC, along with other supplements and all of those other things, which we've had some conversation with them about already.
So I guess originally when it first became a.
Okay, and in its original implementation, I would have to go back and pull together the history on that, because I can't necessarily speak to it, but Amy looks like she wants to step out of the box and say something.
And I brought this up last time, the original, when we first started this type of a incentive or a bonus, it came out of the teacher incentive fund. So it was paid for teachers, part of a federal fund. And so then when that source went away, or that grant was over, the district continued to sustain that additional resource.
Okay, and then.
Go ahead.
Nothing. Okay. I was just gonna say, and part of that process in that particular year would have been, all right, based on that, what is the funding left? What is the remaining, or the bargaining authority that we have now based on what we've already committed, if that makes sense? But what that was at that point in time, again, I would have to go back and do some research.
All right, anything else? Any other clarifications, questions on this issue? Any other data needed? All right, with that, if you have nothing else, Rob suggested we call it an evening. Unless we have other issues we can talk about with compensation, that's all we have left. Well, want to pass the mic to Chris, please? Thank you.
I did have a quick question for you guys. We were talking about experience and longevity. Can you give a better breakdown of how you guys define that, make sure we're on the same page?
All right, Kevin, you're up.
So if you don't mind, can I ask some clarifying questions along with that statement? So right now, longevity is years in the district. So for one example, if you had 30 years in the district, that is what's used. Even if you had a break in service, those years continue, they move forward. It's the sum of those years that counts towards longevity.
Chris?
Well, when I mentioned experience, I was kind of relating that, again, kind of dovetailing on steps. When you're making your comparisons to these other, are you looking at the experience levels within the work time frame of being in the school district, or are you saying that's experience over your course of a lifetime, or where you're coming from? Or my using experience was based on kind of like a step type.
So some variation of experience in position and experience within the district, depending on how we go and what our compensation movement would be, is where that would take place. One of the comments I made for the job that you may currently do, sometimes that's gone through changes over the years, but more or less it's the same thing. So trying to lock down that experience is kind of hard, but it's your experience in the position that's going to potentially where you would fall originally, and then how you progress would be sorted out and be transparent about that. And that would just be an original discussion to see if that's where we want to head.
Okay, I'm still a little confused on the whole thing, because again, as you're making comparisons to, I assume other school districts, I'm pretty confident that those other school districts are still on step steps and whatnot. So when they're making those comparisons, as they come back to us, those experience levels would be the correct comparison, not just as a 50% across the board calculation, I guess, I'm saying this right.
So, understood. I believe it was just on the rate within experience and the window that rate would be for each position, if that makes sense.
Amy, something to add?
Yes, I was just gonna say, if I understand what you're saying, that you're saying, yeah, there has to be some consideration when there's a comparison of what a pay is for a particular job, is there some consideration for the amount of time somebody has in for a job, right?
Right, in other
Okay.
words, I use a plumber, for example. If you've got a 5-year plumber, as you're comparing that to other districts, that 5-year plumber is making X amount of dollars versus a 10-year plumber or a 15-year plumber. And I'm just wondering, are you guys getting your study based on just an overall, are you taking all of those salaries combined and say, okay, we're gonna give you 50% of that? That's kind of where I was going with it.
Okay, so all of I think the answer to the question is all of the above is being taken into account. The best that they have, the information that we have had to give them, right? Which basically is, say for example, a position on a market rate, if they're all the same, they'll give that comparison to like the mid of the market and do a comparison there. But then also understanding that part of what our goal is to be able to create whatever a new structure would be that would take into account some things that we define for them, including time. So I think the answer to your question is yes, all of those things need to be taken into consideration when determining what is a new something going to look like.
Okay, no, I think I understand, but again, I just want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples and not, something, again, that I'm kind of going back to the market rate, which was in my mind basically a starting rate. And it never took into account the experience levels that within the time frame of your being here at the school district.
Right, understood. And I think we've had conversation with them and they're very understanding with the feedback that they got from employees in focus groups, through feedback that they got from employees on the surveys, and through feedback that they received from us, understand what the challenges were with that and how we need an option that's gonna help us stretch that out or fix compression, to some extent based on those issues that came about with market rate and other things too, so.
And you just mentioned compression, that's exactly
Yes.
what I'm kind of
Yes.
alluding to.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, is that it for this evening then? All right, have a good evening. We got something accomplished. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
And see you again on the 13th.